Want to know the truth about the places we rate the highest from our adventures this year? And our must-visit recommendations for your next travels?
So we've been reflecting on another epic year making travel content full-time, and given we're often asked for recommendations and honest reviews after the fact, we thought we would wrap up this year with our top 5 picks for you.
But not just the countries, we kind of wanted to share the specific places that you should add to your list and the reasons why.
So there are video playlists below if you missed those series or if you haven't caught them at all. There are also booking links there too, top things to do, all that kind of stuff. But this list we think has got some underrated gems, some unique spots, and some unexpected winners as well.
But it's not all positive, so we'll make sure that we're honest with you guys.
And the number one that was the number one on our bucket list until this year was our favorite destination of 2024, Japan. We finally went.
Woohoo!
I realize you haven't seen the vlogs yet. Those will start in January.
I think we were a little bit nervous as well because it was at the top of our bucket list for so long. We were a bit worried that it wasn't going to live up to the expectations, but I'll tell you what, it did.
Our favorite was KYOTO, and that is the place that we recommend that you visit as well. Far less hustle and bustle, it was a lot more green, a lot more local, a much slower pace of life, and there was just in general just less tourists and easier to find what felt kind of more authentic.
I think those main those 2 streets in the Gion district were like stunning to actually see. And the fact that you can still get around easily, it's got decent trains. They do actually take buses there, which I kind of found to be a little bit crowded and a little bit harder.
Not as good.
But you've still got the option to take trains.
The food is just as delicious. We went to this incredible markets, which Stacey will remember the name of.
Nishiki.
The Shiki markets. The culture and the people are just as beautiful as you'll find anywhere else in Japan. And all of those little things that make Japan special in terms of the respect and the social etiquettes and the sensory overload, they're all still there.
I think the cool thing about Kyoto is that there are so many pockets of amazing areas and things to do, like the Torii Gate at Fushimi Inari Shrine, and then you've also got Arashiyama, where you can go up into the mountains, you can visit the snow monkeys.
Minus the snow.
But in autumn or fall, the leaves are incredible. We waited in line for an hour for a coffee.
Yeah, we'll see how we feel about that when you watch the video. But that is the negative. In a place like that, with the top things to do and there being less of them, there's a lot of people. But that's kind of a Japan thing in general. And another Japan thing in general is it is expensive. It's not overwhelmingly expensive, but it is pricey.
Hola and welcome to spot number 2. It's Argentina, and more specifically Buenos Aires. We loved the city. It was so unexpectedly cool.
So the wider city of Buenos Aires has a lot of things to do. There are so many amazing ways to get around. We went out on bikes and did a tour, and we got to see all these neighborhoods and seeing the football teams and some of the beef between them, and then actually eating incredible beef. But the place that we are recommending the most to go even more dialed down is the Palermo area. Just think street art, hipster, amazing little cafes and bars, edgy shopping. That is the kind of crowd we're talking about.
Yeah, it was definitely a younger crowd, full of locals, people walking their dogs. It felt like we were just sort of integrating into their neighborhood. We didn't actually plan out our days very much. We just found it really interesting to walk around and explore, stumble upon boutique shopping, all sorts of stuff, and the food. The food, the wine. I remember we ate one of the best burgers of our lives there, and we sampled a lot of the local wine for research purposes.
The best red wine I've ever had.
100% effective research. And the thing is as well, the pricing. Extremely cheap when you know how to work the currency by bringing in cash and getting the blue rate on the kind of off-market situation, which is also a pro and a con, because the con being that because of the economy, it is somewhat considered to be a dangerous place for quick pickpockets and thefts and stuff like that when it comes to tourists. This Palermo area in particular was much safer than other areas that we went, but it definitely is a negative and a consideration. And the other thing being, because of that, the locals definitely pay a lot cheaper for accommodations. Don't let that put you off. It is an incredible place to check out.
Number 3 is Vanuatu, and more specifically, Espiritu Santo. You've probably seen we've just put out some of those vlogs and we were obviously really excited about it. Wow. But ever since we got home and we've reflected back on it, we have to say it is the most underrated destination of our entire year of 2024 and maybe even of all of our travels.
I think it is, yeah. I genuinely think it is probably the most underrated place we have ever visited. And we get that we come across as positive in the vlogs and we're being, like having a great time. And that's the advantage of a video like this, is that we get the chance to actually reflect and you can see that we weren't playing around. Like, it is so cool. There are barely any tourists there. We weren't just being smart with our filming and trying not to show people that, like, you can see it in the drone footage. There's barely anybody there, and it's just got these award-winning beaches, the most amazing water, whether you're in the blue holes or you're out on a snorkeling trip.
And we got to experience some of the most unique tours we've ever been on. Like, who gets to ride a horse through a tunnel of mangroves? That doesn't happen. The culture and the people are just beautiful. The water ladies that's something I've never seen in my life and something I will never ever forget.
It was actually emotional in the moment, being part of that and seeing it firsthand. But anyway, yeah, fascinating war stories, and there's these world-class reefs and all sorts. There's just so much going on.
In terms of negatives, we would say it is a little bit isolated, and the fact that it's still developing, which is kind of a good thing and a bad thing, is that it makes planning a little bit difficult. So you sort of have to go with the flow and book things as you go on the ground.
Another option is to just book a car and explore yourself. It's definitely a safe kind of place to explore in that sense. But I think for the most part, you spend some days hanging out, you spend some days booking tours, but you just kind of go with the flow a little bit because it is, like Stacey said, just developing still.
Xin chào, it's number 4, Vietnam, HOI AN. We could go on and on and on and on and on about this. We love HOI AN for so many reasons. One of them is the charming ancient town.
It's one of those places when you walk around the ancient town, more so at nighttime, where the lanterns just make it feel so special. There is a feeling that you get when you're there, and you can tell that everybody else there also has that feeling that you can't quite get anywhere else in the world.
But beyond those walking streets, there is so much to do. You can go to the beach, you can visit the rice fields, you can spin around in a coconut boat and feel sick.
You can go in the biggest thunderstorm of your entire life if you're feeling up to it. But the cool thing is that you could be on a bike or you could drive on a scooter, but I'm just realizing now that we've actually gone into the negatives already. So let's kind of do that out of order. That is the situation, so that you're not just stuck in the touristy area of the old town. Riding a bike or driving a scooter is kind of the best way to get around.
Back to some positives though. The coffee is out of this world. We bought 1 kg home and we were so sad when it eventually ran out.
I know that some of you are hoping for that 11th Vietnam video. We're still working on it in the background. It's a bit more of like an overarching helpful one, kind of similar to this, but a bit more specific about Vietnam. So stay tuned.
Finally, Queenstown in New Zealand, because it will always have a special place in our hearts. But not just because we're from New Zealand or because we're biased. Queenstown is, honestly, when you talk to anybody, they all say it is beautiful.
There is a reason that even as Kiwis, we keep going back, as to like a lot of our friends and family and people that we know as well. We've actually got the top selling and highest rated travel guide from there, so a little bit of like a self plug, but if you do ever plan to visit, definitely check that out. We're updating it annually. But the thing is as well, is what makes Queenstown so special is that it is magical year round.
So the winter is snow heaven with skiing, and it makes it kind of feel a bit like an alpine village, and then in the summer you can go on amazing road trips, you can take walks and hikes, you've got the lake, you've got viewpoints, and basically every other season there's something special too.
So because of that, there is kind of something for every budget, because walking is free and going to the viewpoints is mostly free as well, but there are also amazing things to do. It is the, what do they call it? The adventure capital of New Zealand. So whether you want to ball out and go on helicopters and go on the historic boats or go on that crazy bloody shark thing.
Oh yeah, boy!
Or go bungee jumping, or less extreme, just going up to the viewpoint and checking out some of the wine trails and the markets. Like, it's just all vibes.
Yeah, I feel like the food and wine needs an honourable mention as well, especially the new area Airburn, super cool new district and definitely worth checking out. Also, the accommodation options around Queenstown, epic. Something for everyone. You want to go glamping, you want to stay in a cottage, you want to stay in a hotel, they've got it all.
The negative being, and we get this on every video from Queenstown I think we ever make, is that it is expensive, especially compared to other places in New Zealand. But the thing is, and the reason we keep going back is that we would argue is that you do get what you pay for, and it does actually live up to the hype.
So those are our top 5 places that we would recommend that you add to your bucket list, but we're always curious to hear, where would you recommend? Is there somewhere that we've missed, or is there somewhere that you think we should go or add to our list for next year?
That's a very good point. We need to be doing some more travels while the Japan videos come out. We've got some plans in the works at the moment, but those Japan videos, guys, we cannot wait to share.
Ooh, exciting.
We were in love with Japan, and honestly, probably the most exhausted we've ever been on any trip, and I hate looking at the footage and seeing how puffy my eyes are.
No, don't tell them that.
Basically at all times, because it was like, I have to go and see absolutely everything there is to do.
But anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the comments.
Old school!